I bought so many books, hey, hey. Bought so many books, hey, hey. My wallet is at home.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila. This is JemilaBeReadin because I do be reading. And today I'm coming at y'all with a book haul. Not just any old book haul, a big ass book haul and a black book haul because all of the books that I'm going to be showcasing today are by black authors. So, it's lit. I also do want to point out that I have some links down below for various bail funds. We all know what happened regarding Breonna Taylor. It's trash. And yeah, let's just support the community. So I'm gonna have links down below for that. So the first book that I have is An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon, and this is like a sci-fi. I'm actually not super sure what this is about. I just know that there is like a space vessel and it's organized by class and race, kind of reminiscent of like the antebellum South. And the main character, Aster, lives in the low deck slums of this space vessel. There's seeds of civil war. So I've heard great things about this book and as well as River Solomon. So I'm really excited to read this at some point. Also, the cover is just
Stunning.
so. Oh, and also the first sets of books that I'm going to be talking about are from this black owned online bookshop that specializes in like sci-fi, fantasy, Afrofuturism. So it's called Sista Sci-Fi. I'll link their bookshop below, but I spent like over $100 on this huge book order like a couple months ago, and so I just want to show off the books and also shout them out because they're really cool and you should obviously support black owned bookstores. So the next book I have is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and this book I have already read. I love with everything in my heart. N.K. Jemisin is one of my favorite authors, so when I saw that she was working on a new series, I was hyped. This was one of my most anticipated reads of this year, and so yes, I now own it. I read it from the library the first time, but anyways, this is a urban fantasy where cities have souls. And when a city is about to be birthed, as in they've been around for a really long time, they really have their culture, their society, they get birthed. There is an avatar that represents the city that helps guide the city through that birthing process and also has to fight like this evil being so that the city can successfully and safely be birthed. This is such a strange description. It is a strange book. So, New York is about to be birthed, and there's this avatar, but there's more than one avatar because New York has different boroughs that have very much different personalities and their own vibrancies. And so there are 5 avatars for New York, and there is this evil being. The process of birthing didn't go quite right, so now that there's this evil being that is very much a representation of like gentrification and all of that stuff, and they're trying to fight this being. This is such a bizarre description, but it's such a bizarre book that I don't really know how to describe it, but you should absolutely read it. It's amazing. Also, I just love like just the blurbing even with these colors. It's so pretty. Yeah, so go pick up this book. Okay, so the next book I have is How Long Till Black Futures Month, also by N.K. Jemisin. This is a collection of short stories by N.K. Jemisin. Obviously, some fantasy, some urban fantasy, a lot of different mixes and stuff in here. I haven't read it yet. I'm excited to at some point. I'm really just trying to buy all of N.K. Jemisin's books because she's one of my favorite authors. And so, of course, I had to pick up her anthology. Okay, so the next two books I have here are A Kata Witch and A Kata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a young adult fantasy series that follows Sunny, who is an albino. She is from West Africa living in New York City, and she discovers that she has some latent magical abilities and ends up going to like a magical school, and there are threats and powers and things that she has to defeat with her friends. I'm not super familiar with the story exactly, but I've read Nnedi Okorafor's other works like Binti, which is one of my all-time favorites, and Who Fears Death, and I really enjoy her writing. And I've heard good things about this series, so decided to pick it up. Next up, I have A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I am super excited about this one because Black mermaids, and it's set in Portland. And if you know me, I live in Portland. So I was like, this book is it. I am so excited to read it. This follows Tavia, who is a siren, and she has to hide her powers. I think this is like an urban fantasy setting, and I don't think the fantasy part is the main aspect of the story. I think it's like what I've heard from other people is that it's a contemporary set with the backdrop of an urban fantasy. So Tavia is a siren, and she has to hide her powers because in this setting, sirens are discriminated against. And then Effie is fighting her family struggles and dealing with all of that. And then at one point, Tavia accidentally reveals her powers in front of everyone, and so she has to deal with that and the aftermath and all of that stuff. So there's that. I'm excited to read it. So the next book I have here is Court of Lines by Somaya Dowd. This is the second book in the Mirage duology. I won't talk really about what this is about since it's the second book in a series, but Mirage follows Amani, who is the spitting image of the crown princess, and so she is kidnapped and forced to be the crown princess's body double. And so the crown princess and her family and her people are the Vathic, and they have colonized this world and where Amani is from. And so there's a lot of hate towards, you know, the royal family, and so there is a lot of danger for Meram and all of that stuff. So that's why Amani is being forced to be her body double in like public events. This is the second book, obviously. I've already read it. It was a solid read, and yeah, I think you should check it out. The next book I have here is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a YA fantasy and a debut. And so I actually literally just finished reading this yesterday. And this is following two protagonists, Malik, who is a refugee who is fleeing his war-stricken home with his two sisters, and Karina, who is the crown princess of Ziran. And so upon trying to get into the city of Ziran, Malik's sister is stolen away by this weird entity, this evil entity. And so in order to get his little sister back, he is told that he has to kill the crown princess. And Karina, her mother was murdered. And so she is trying to bring her mother back to life. And so she's trying to do this resurrection spell, and for that she needs the heart of a king. So she uses Solstasia, which is this semi-centennial, that was such a fancy word of me, but this festival that occurs every 50 years. So she uses this festival to find a king to marry so that she can kill him and obviously try to resurrect her mother. And none of this is spoilers. It's literally what it says on the flap of the book. So in case you're wondering, sounds like you're giving away things. I'm not, I promise. But yeah, this was a fun read. I really enjoyed it. And yeah. So the final book that I have for the order that I placed from Sista Sci-Fi is A Phoenix First Must Burn. And this is a collection of stories by various different authors, another anthology. It includes the likes of Elizabeth Acevedo, Somaya Dowd, Donnell Clayton, and a bunch of other authors. I've heard great things about this anthology. It's fantasy inspired, so I'm excited to check this out. All right, so now I'm going to get into some of the other books that I've bought in kind of recently from miscellaneous places, but that they're all Black authors as well. So the first set of books here is the Complete Reluctant Royal series by Alyssa Cole. I got the first book from my library and absolutely loved it, and decided that I needed to buy this entire series. And I've read the trilogy, and I got the little like short novellas, but I haven't read those yet. So I'm saving this for when I'm, feeling a quick little romp. But I absolutely adored this series. The first book is A Princess in Theory, and this follows Naledi, who is a grad student, and Prince Dabiso, who is the sole heir to this fictional African country called Desolo. And it's actually really funny because
when I was first reading this, I was looking at this country name and I'm like, Desolo? And I'm like, isn't that a real country? And it turns out I was thinking of Lesotho, which is a real country. And so I just was confused.
So yeah, anyways, this is a fun little romp. The books followed like various different characters that show up in the first book. And I would say read this in order, because you do get more of the characters in each book. And I think that helps when you finally get to their own individual book. You get some like backstory already. I mean, you can probably read this separately in different orders, but I would say read it in order. They're quick and fun reads, and you should just read it all anyway. So the next book I have here is Homegoing by Yagyasi, and I'm so excited to finally have this book, because this is literally one of the best books that I read this year. I read this for my Pros Before Bros book club back in like March, and I did not know if I was going to like this book, because at this point I had really only been reading fantasy, and even then I just haven't been reading much at all. So I didn't really know how my tastes have changed as I've gotten older, because life, and I haven't been reading that much up until this year. So when I read this, I loved it so much. Literally cried so much. It was so good, and I finally just bought it because I had originally read it from my library. So good. So this follows two half-sisters born in Ghana, 18th century, and they don't know about each other at all. One is married off to an Englishman, colonizer, slave trader, and the other is sold into slavery. And so this book follows the two paths of their lives and their descendants. And so this literally has like so many different plot lines. You only get about 20 pages with each point of view, but somehow it's just like enough. Like, this is truly like just amazing. Okay, you should go read it. I'm sure a lot of people, I feel like not enough people are talking about it, but it did come out in 2016. So maybe a lot of people were talking about this on BookTube back then, but oh my gosh, I love this. Transcendent Kingdom recently came out, and I'm so excited to read that. And it seems like a lot of people are talking about it, which good. She deserves all of all of the praise. And so, yeah. So the next book I have here is Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. This is an adult contemporary that follows Queenie, who is Jamaican British, living in, I believe, London. And this is just following her life as her life spirals, trying to regain her life, figure out who she is, what does she want to be, what is she doing, classic mid-20s freak out. I feel it. And so I'm excited to read this. I'm thinking about maybe doing a reading vlog with this book and another book that I'm about to mention in a little bit. But yeah. The next book I have here is Pet by Kweke Emezi. And this is, I believe, a middle grade, like sci-fi fantasy book. There are monsters. There are other things. I don't really quite know what this book is about, but I've heard a lot of great things about Pet. I've heard a lot of great things about Kweke Emezi, and so I am excited to read this. And also, again, most of these are stunning, but this is just the purple, I love it. And the final book I have for this haul is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA contemporary that follows Enchanted Jones, where she wakes up and there is someone dead next to her. So I think this is going back in time and showing what led to this point. Basically, Enchanted is an inspiring singer. She meets legendary R&B artist Corey Fields, and all of this stuff showing her luxurious life turns into a nightmare. All of this stuff. So I'm really excited for this book. Again, this is one that's been hyped and promoted a ton, which I'm so excited to see. I just love seeing Black women winning. So I'm excited to read this. And this was the book I was thinking about doing a reading vlog with Queenie, mainly just because two Black contemporaries with beautifully bright and vibrant covers. They're kind of nothing alike. This is a YA contemporary following, you know, what happened that led to this killing of this dead body, and Queenie seems like a hot mess. But, you know, we'll see what happens. All right, that is all I have for you today in this video. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, weekday, whenever you happen to be watching this. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, JemilaBeReadin, and on Twitter, JemiLondo. Leave a comment down below, you know. Here's the question if you're still here. What superpower would you have if you could choose just one, a non-traditional one? So not like flying or teleporting, just like some weird abstract power. If you could choose one, what would it be? Leave that down below in the comments. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next video.